talk about karma, it actually means reactions that manifest in a different life. So therefore, when we talk about karma, we also have to accept the fact that we don't have one life, we have many lifetimes. And that also means that actually we're not the body. So we're a soul within a body that goes from life to life to life. And then according to karma, you get certain bodies. And then within that body, you get certain results in a pattern, which we call karma. So that's the context of karma here. Actions which produce reactions in another life. As I said, that's one aspect. The karma indicates certain conditions that you're put under in one lifetime due to actions in a previous lifetime. It could be next life or 5 lifetimes later, whatever. So that's one thing. Your birth is fixed in a certain family, for instance. That's one thing. And then as you grow, then certain events are fixed. Maybe you get an accident or sickness or whatever. When you get married and you have children, these things are more or less fixed. Span of life is fixed. So certain events get very, very fixed and very difficult to change them. Those are your karmas. Along with that, you're also getting some other inheritance from your previous lifetimes, and that is what we call vasanas or impressions. When we experience life, we have actions, and then our senses get inputs. This is good or this is bad. This is frightening. This is painful or whatever. And those impressions stick into our subtle body, which goes with us, and then those will surface in next life or next life also. So we got two things going on. We carry on the reactions, plus we carry on these impressions from previous lifetimes. So that's basically what's going on in your life to life thing, and it goes from body to body to body. So according to the theory of karma, as mentioned in the Vedic literature, you're not limited to human birth. You can get animal birth, you could get plant birth, or you could get above human birth, which we call a devata birth, more subtle bodies or whatever, spirit bodies or whatever. And it's all material, but on different levels of consciousness and with different types of bodies. And that's according to the type of activities you do. Obviously, the lower than human means very violent activities you've done, so you get a lot of bad karma. And if you do very, very generous, pious activities, you get better and better bodies, maybe heavenly bodies, celestial bodies, or whatever. But in any case, you're getting this carryover, life after life after life. You're expending your reactions, and then you're doing new activities and creating new karmas. So you go from body to body to body, and it's kind of an unending cycle. So in Buddhism, they have the wheel of karma, which is a circle. That means that there's no beginning and no end. It's very difficult to get out of that circle. You're caught in it. There's no beginning, no end. So you just have birth after birth after birth, karma after karma after karma. We're doing all these actions. We're accruing new karmas. We expand them. We're doing new actions. We expand new actions again. So body after body after body. This is actually the center of a Buddhist diagram here. And then we see in the ring around, there'll be different types of bodies you could get. The ones on this side are the celestial ones in the clouds, and the ones on the other side are the darkish ones in hellish existence or animal existence. In the center, we see there are 3 animals. So there's a snake and a pig and a chicken, actually. So these are symbolic, and they represent lust, anger, and greed. So due to lust, anger, and greed, we do our actions. Then we get the karmas that create our bodies that make us rotate in this cycle forever. So that's the fuel, so to speak, to manifest our actions, which manifests karma, which manifests these bodies. That's how it works. So the law of karma is, well, of course, it's very complicated because each action we do any day of our life has a reaction. So when you step on the ground and you hit a bug or something, or step on a worm, then you get a karma for that. Not a big karma, a little karma. And when you breathe in and you breathe in some bacteria, you get some karma for that. When you boil your water or whatever and you kill some insect flying around, then you get something for that, whatever. So all day long, we're getting karmas, but most of them, unfortunately, are very small. Then we have the bigger karmas. So in any case, the law is simply acts of unnecessary violence will give you a lot of suffering. So of course, if we kill a bug by accident, fine. But if we go out and start killing bugs because we just have a malicious intent against, bugs or something, we start killing them like anything unnecessarily, then we get more karma for that. Also, the karma will vary according to the type of body. Lower living entities, you kill them less. Higher living entities, more. So if you kill human beings, obviously you're going to get more karma than if you kill animals or if you kill plants. So of course, human beings is the worst. You do unnecessary acts. Now, according to the law, also certain acts of violence are also permitted. So if you're attacked and you fight back and you happen to kill the person, then you don't get any karma for that because you were attacked, whatever. If they steal from you or whatever, or they set fire to your house, then no karma if you attack them also. So there's, cases where the violence is, they say, necessary, so you don't get karma for that. So this is unnecessary violence motivated by greed, lust, anger, emotions, etc. It's not a one-way reaction, because if you do good actions, you help other living entities, then you get very nice results. So you get good karma. So in the Vedic scriptures, they generally try to discourage you from the acts of violence, which we call sin, and they tell you to do the acts of compassion, which are called piety. And in this way, you can guarantee in your next lifetime, you improve from this lifetime. So you avoid the sinful acts of violence, you do the compassionate acts, and then you can improve your situation next life. And you can do this life after life and gradually progress upwards until you get beyond the human body. Maybe you get a celestial body of Devata or whatever. Now, here we have a picture here. The man is half tiger and half human. So what this indicates is the man there, he's cooking up his meat because he killed an animal or whatever. So not necessary to survive on the animal. He's not starving to death, but he takes the animal and he eats it anyway. So then he gets bad karma for that. And then if he does this a lot, then he can become a tiger, which we see on the left-hand side. The result is you act like a tiger, you become a tiger. So he gets a lower birth, lower than the human. Yeah. Okay, here's another diagram from one of our books. We see there is a cow and there's a man killing the cow with his big axe, but we see the heads are reversed. The man has on the animal head, the animal has on the human head. This actually illustrates a very interesting explanation of a word. In Sanskrit, we have a word called meat or flesh, mamsa. That's technical Sanskrit word. Mamsa means flesh. So, and if you want to eat flesh, then you're going to get the reaction. So mam and sa, actually, mam means me and sa means he. So he is killed by me because I wanted to eat the meat. And then next life, he gets a chance to kill me. So we get reversed. So that's the basic idea. You commit violence, you will get similar violence on yourself in another life. Yeah, so as I said, you can get into lower species of life. If you do lots of violent activity, you can lose the human birth and then you become an animal or even a plant or whatever. And this goes on infinitely. So we have the infinity sign there. No beginning, no end. Very difficult to stop this thing. And if you do nice acts, then you get nice results and you get to celestial planets or whatever and live for thousands and thousands of years and get a lot of enjoyment and without work. So it's very difficult for us to expend the karmas. One reason is we're always doing actions in every body that we have, and therefore we're always creating new karmas. The second thing is that some karmas take more than one birth to exhaust. You do a sinful activity, you may get 5 births getting the result of that, or 6 births, or 10 births, or 20 births, depending on the amount of violence you've committed. So therefore, there's piles up of karmas that are not exhausted. So at this time, we have karmas of this life, and then we expend them in this lifetime. But we have karmas waiting for us from previous lifetimes, and they're sitting with us now, and they will push, even if we don't do any activity in this lifetime. These other karmas are going to start manifesting in next lifetime. So plus we're adding the new karmas as well. So it's like impossible to exhaust our karma simply by living. It goes on and on. So we add new karmas 10%, and we maybe expend 5%. So we're out, keep adding and adding and adding. There's no end to the number of karmas waiting for us at any one time. So that's why it's difficult to get out of this cycle of birth and death. And therefore it becomes a wheel, which we also call samsara. So this is repeated birth and death in this world. Some people, of course, will say, what's wrong with that? It's good. We don't die, so we just get birth after birth after birth. Fine. But the problem is in each lifetime, we do have to suffer, and nobody likes the suffering. If you want to get the happiness, fine, but we don't like the suffering. But it's impossible to have all happiness and no suffering because violence is there within life and we can't avoid it. So to some degree, we have to get suffering. Yeah, okay, so that we covered that already. Okay. So because of the karmas, the actions we do, we're forced to take another body. And that body is in a certain place, in a certain country, in a certain family. That's determined by the law of karma. And then certain events of life get fixed. So that becomes our karma. So in this process, then when we think, well, this is pretty predeterministic or what, fatalistic. We're sitting here and we're just getting the results of our karma. What can we do? Nothing. We just get results, but not actually like that. It's a matter of our karmas that we have to receive in this lifetime, plus our own actions of this lifetime, depending on our choice. So our choice of what to do in this lifetime is not determined by those karmas. That those karmas give us a place in which we can decide. So here's the monopoly board there, and certain things are fixed there. To play the game, you cannot change the order of these things. You cannot change the value of the things or the colors or whatever. And but if you land on a certain square, then you can decide, I want to buy this piece or I'll sell it or whatever like that. You have choices. So we're stuck in a body. We grow up and then we make choices. And of course, some things we cannot decide. We get an accident, we get sick or whatever, we die at a certain time. We cannot decide that, but we do have choices to make. And those choices we make now also help the color our life in a certain way and maybe improve it. So we have the bad reactions we're getting. We can somewhat mitigate those by the choices we make in this lifetime. So we can improve our situation in this lifetime also. So it's not all predetermined for us. So it's a matter of our circumstances due to our past activities, which were our choice, plus our actions now. And that combines to make this life. So it's somewhat predetermined, but not completely. We do have our free will and our ability to choose. Yeah. So we should never think that we are overpowered by our circumstances. A lot of people get real depressed. I can't do anything. It's all this, results. It's not my fault. It's something just happened. And, but if you make proper choices, you can actually begin to overcome that situation. So choice is very important. Another simple way of saying it is life is like with your body now is like a chariot, which has two wheels on it, not one. So one wheel is the karma, the other is your effort you make in this lifetime. Together, they determine which way you go in life. So it's not just one wheel, karma just doing everything. It's our choices, our effort that we make as well. And that produces our life. So therefore, we do have our karmas. And if we choose good actions, that is the nonviolent actions, we actually improve this life. That's one thing. But then we also, by doing those actions, we also get improvement in next lifetime. So we get double benefit. We get improvement of this lifetime. We can mitigate some of the karmas of this lifetime. Plus, we can also improve next lifetime. So that's the benefit of that. On the other hand, if we do the opposite and we do very violent actions, we actually ruin this life and make it worse. And we also get very bad results for next lifetime or next lifetime. So that's why we do have to be very careful of how we choose. In the Bhagavad Gita and other literatures, they talk about the material world as having three different qualities. One is ignorance or tamas, or tamogun. The second one is passion or rajas or rajogun. And the third is sattva or sattvagun. So everything in the material world, whether it's objects or bodies or whatever, animals, plants, human beings, cities, whatever, they all are a mixture of these gunas. But then one guna may be very prominent also. So ignorance is the lowest. It's called the mode of darkness, which means for us as human beings, we do actions, but we don't think about it. We just do according to our whims or whatever like that. No discriminating power, no intelligence or whatever. We just do things rationally. So that's mode of ignorance. And the result is a lot of suffering. And generally, these are the people that will do a lot of bad karma, bad, sinful, like violent activities, and they get great suffering as a result in this life and future lives. Mode of passion is very, Rajoguna is very passionate. We do activities in order to gain something, and we can be very intelligent about doing it. So most of the people in this material world are in this mode of achieving material goals. And to do that, we work very hard and we use our intelligence to try to get that goal, like businessmen, like that. That's Rajagun. And mode of goodness is quite different because this is a mode of, we say, calmness, equilibrium, controlling the mind and senses, and being introspective, and ultimately understanding we're not the body, we're the soul. So that's the best of the three modes. And so we can do actions in any of these modes, and then we get different results. In ignorance, we get suffering, great suffering. Passion, we think we're getting happiness, but ultimately we have to suffer also because we do sinful activities. Mode of goodness is the best because we minimize the sinful activities, maximize the pious activities, and then we lead comfortable life, this life and next life. And thus we get, three directions you can go. You can go upwards through sattva. You can stay in the middle with the mode of passion. You can degrade yourself with the mode of ignorance and become an animal or a plant or whatever, or a hellish existence. Okay, so that's the basic karma aspect. Now, astrology is an ancient science. It's not confined to one country. It's in India, in the Vedic life, they have this. But we'll see it popping up all around the world. So Egyptians had astrology, Babylonians had astrology, Greeks had astrology, Romans had astrology, medieval Europe had astrology. And in spite of the fact that probably the church was against it and Christian church was against all of this, it continues, and it continues into the modern world. So we have Western astrology in the modern world also. And it has continued in India also, astrology. Planets are the same. Calculations are slightly different sometimes. So we have Vedic astrology and then we have Western astrology. But basically the zodiac signs are the same, the planets are the same. But predictions are maybe slightly, techniques are a little different. In any case, the question will come up of, well, we've got the planets in the sky, how they can affect you? Because some of the planets are very far away. We have like Jupiter and Saturn very, very far, millions of miles away. How are they going to start influencing your body and do things to your body? And so we said, well, this planet is affecting me. How is it possible? So this scientifically or logically, it doesn't seem possible. So we don't have to think of it in terms of planets affecting you. We can say that planets simply indicate things for you. That's all. They're indicators. Yeah. Just like we have medicine, so we have symptoms. The doctor sees your symptoms, the indicators, and then he can diagnose your sickness. So planets are indicators. Why planets? It's a simple method because we just use our computer and we can calculate where all the planets are at your birth. So it's easy to calculate. And there are other methods you could also use to predict, your karmas or whatever, but this is a rather commonly used method. So what astrology does, it gives the map of your karma of this lifetime, when this is going to happen, when this is going to happen, when this is going to happen, this is a good event, this is a bad event or whatever, gives you a pattern for your life. based upon interpretation of the planets and the zodiac signs. So that's generally what astrology does. So we think of the planets as indicators rather as causes, though, generally people think of the planets, Saturn is affecting me or Mars is affecting me or whatever like that. But actually we say they're indicating something, that's all. Uh, so, as I said, the modes, the ignorance or the passion or the goodness are there. And if you act in ignorance or in passion, generally you do not change the pattern of your karmas. If you act in goodness, then you can actually decrease your bad karmas and increase your good karmas. So it's always better to act in goodness, whatever our chart is, and then we can get better results, maximize results. So if the astrologer sees so many bad karmas, then he'll advise you to do acts of goodness, pious activities, such as acts of goodness. Act without selfish motivation. That is, we don't do things for ourselves. We try to do it disinterestedly. Normally, we act because we want something for ourselves. And of course, because of that, then we tend to, not think of other people and we create problems for other people to get things for ourselves. And this creates violence. So we act without that motivation. This helps maintain, sattva, destroy bad karmas, etc. So we act for others, show compassion, etc. This will compensate for our previous violence, for bad karmas or whatever. Take non-violent food, show tolerance and compassion. So these are things which actually can improve our situation if we have bad karmas in our life. We can practice maybe a little higher up is start controlling our senses as we do in yoga. So one of the principles of the yogi is he's controlling his mind and his senses, etc. at all times. And in the process of Jnana Yoga, which is even higher, we can say you start renouncing everything, become very, very detached from material life in general. So all these things help us extinguish our karmas. So just to make things very simple, astrology, the predictive element is based upon three things: planets, zodiac signs, and houses, which is a little more complicated to explain, but I'll explain it later. So some planets are by nature bad. So if they're in certain places, they're going to give you bad effects. These are called the malefic planets. So we have Saturn, which is the slowest planet in the zodiac, and it causes a lot of delay and sometimes suffering. Of course, each planet is not completely bad. They also can be good in some circumstances, but in general, you get Saturn in a certain place, like seventh house. Seventh house is marriage house. If you put Saturn there, delay. You can't get married for a long period. So maybe you're 40 years old before you get married or something like that. Mars, this is the fighting planet. And all the Greeks also understood, Mars, red planet, fighting. So it causes fighting, quarrel, dissension, wars, etc. So it's not an auspicious planet. Somebody's calling me. Okay. So Saturn delays, Mars causes quarrels and dissension. There's two planets called Rahu and Ketu. We won't deal with. They're little subtle planets that cause eclipse and stuff like that. So they also cause mental disturbances. So those are the bad planets. The other planets basically are good or medium like that, like Sun, Moon, Mercury. Jupiter is the best planet, considered the best planet. Very expansive and jovial. Good for money, good for philosophy, whatever like that. Very sattvic planet. So as well as the good and bad planets, and then we get the bad ones like that, then we get strong and weak planets. So according to where the planet is situated in what zodiac sign, it may be strong or weak. If it's weak, generally cannot give any good results. If it's strong, it gives good results. So even a good planet, very weak, could not give you nice results. So I said Jupiter was a very nice planet, very good planet. But if it's very weak by zodiac placement, then you don't get nice results. Disappointment. You don't get money, for instance. So, in this way, we have strong, weak planets. We have naturally good and bad planets like that to give different results. And the other is called the houses. So there are, just like there are 12 zodiac signs, the different, like, Aries and Cancer and whatever, Gemini, etc. We also have 12 houses. So the houses kind of correspond to the zodiac signs, but they keep changing all day long. And so the first house keeps changing every 2 hours, and consequently all the other houses change. So the planets remain in the zodiac signs, but the houses keep changing. So the houses are very important because they indicate all the areas of your life. Here we have the top square, that's called the logna. That's the zodiac sign rising on the horizon when you're born. So that's called number 1. And then we have all the other zodiac signs numbered up until 12. So any zodiac sign can be the number 1 house, and then all the other ones follow after that. But these houses are important because this is where we predict about different things. So the ascendant is your personality, your body. Very important, number 1. 7th house is marriage. 10th house is job. 4th house is your house and your mother. Or your birthplace also, 4th house like that. So in this way, all the different things are there for different things. And here the red ones are the bad ones. 6th house is for sickness, 8th house is for great obstacles, 12th house is for losses. So these are and if you got all your planets here, obviously you're going to have a lot of misery. That would indicate the misery because your planets are in these houses. The planets become weak and then they'll cause sickness or obstacles or losses, even if they're good planets. So this is the basic idea of making predictions. So just a little bit on the houses. So these will indicate the areas of life. People have questions about different aspects: marriage, children, education, getting properties, whatever, success, failure, how much money you're going to make, sicknesses or whatever, job opportunities. So all that's determined by the houses. And that's affected by the strength or the weakness of the planets and good or bad planets. So for instance, we got the career, family, relationships, everything. So all your different questions about things of life, they can be stuck into one house. And then you look at that house and see strong, weak, good planet, bad planet, whatever. Then we can make some prediction. Yeah. So this is just the how the houses work. So we see number 1 there, that's rising on the eastern horizon. And then everything is measured and numbered like that. But if you look at the sky at night, you'll see it's rotating. The moon and all the stars are going over like this from east to west all night and all day like this. So this is constantly changing. Constantly, this ascendant is going to go up this way like this. So it gets to the top, it goes down the bottom like this. So the zodiac signs keep differing. The number 1 house is going to be a different zodiac sign every 2 hours or so, and the planets also. So therefore, the chart, for making a chart, you need your exact birth time and place to figure out where that number 1 house is, and then we can figure out all the different areas of your life, which zodiac sign it's in. Okay, like that. There's another one. Just more of that. Yeah. So you can actually categorize all the different aspects of your life, and they get stuck in one of these houses. Yeah. So here we have 7th house, for instance, marriage, partnerships. 6 is health, so disease, also work, in a service type of work, work in offices and whatever like that. 5 is for children, creativity. 4 is home, emotions, also for mother. Properties, even ours, or whatever, fixed properties. 3rd is good for communications, learning, writing, traveling also, short travels. 2 is money. You can save money. 1, of course, is very important because that's the ascendant. That's your personality, your appearance, your body, whatever, health in general. 12th, of course, is, I said, not really a good house. Past karmas, whatever, hidden emotions. Well, true bliss, if you detach yourself from everything, then you're very happy. So that's how you get truly blissful. But it means give up everything, which for most people is not so nice. They don't want to give up everything. 11th is for gains and whatever. 10th is for reputation, career, etc., fame, etc. 9th is a nice house, higher education, spiritual life. 8th is a bad house. It's also disturbance in marriages. 7th is marriage house, like that. Yeah. So just another diagram to show. It also indicates certain persons. So second house is close family members, as well as wealth. Third is brothers and sisters, travel, communications. Fourth is mother, house, possessions, etc. Fifth is children, education. Sixth is enemies and sickness. Seventh is marriage partners. Eighth is secret enemies, obstacles, bad house. Ninth is father, religion, good luck. 10th is bosses, jobs, careers, etc. 11th is friends, success, nice house. And 12th is death, losses, etc. Imprisonment, things like that. So not good. Yeah. So we have the different predictions of, what's going to happen, but we also have to place it according to time, because everybody wants to know when you're going to get the money, or when you're going to get when you're going to get the children, or when you're going to get married, or when you're going to die. So there has to be a time attached to it. Huh? So in Vedic astrology, they also have particular methods for indicating time. So your life is divided into time cycles or periods according to planets. And by looking at the planet, then looking at where it is in your chart, then you say, in this period, you're going to get the marriage, this one, you're going to die, this one, you're going to get money or whatever, like that, according to the planet's ruling, like that. So there's a whole system of giving dates for certain planets. So in this way, we localize the prediction to a certain time period. Yeah, these are just the planets, how much they rule, all very irregular. Different planets ruling different number of years. And then you subdivide that again into all the planets again. So you get, and subdivide that, so you can get very, very small month periods, actually several month periods ultimately by subdividing. And so you can make very accurate predictions according to time as well. Okay, so we talked about the planets and how they give you karma. So the other aspect was your impressions or your vasanas, your feelings that you have from previous lifetimes, desire, hatred, fear, whatever, attachments. So that's also reflected in astrology. We can we get the indications of that from your number one house, the ascendant, and from the sign where the moon is, because the moon indicates your mind. So the mind gives you a lot of your personality. So from that, we can judge what type of basic personality you have. The ascendant, the first zodiac sign, and the moon sign, like that. For instance, we have different ascendants. Okay, Aries is one ascendant. You could be that. Aries, ruled by the planet Mars. So obviously, and the animal is the ram, which is a male sheep with the big horns. So they are very restless and jump around a lot and whatever, and agitated, and they bang into you if you don't like you or whatever like this. They're very, very aggressive people in general, active people, passionate, whatever, impulsive, like that. So if a person is an Aries ascendant, he may have a lot of these qualities. But these qualities also can be influenced by a planet in that particular sign. So if it was Jupiter in this particular rising sign or ascendant, that would mellow it out a lot, because Jupiter is a very generous, soft planet, like that. So if moon was there, then you would have very more, it would also be a little more gentle, because the moon by nature is more feminine. So it would calm down the Mars. Yeah. So in this way, Mars, this is the first one. Second one is Taurus, the bull, another animal, ruled by Venus. So it's quite different, even though they're both animals with horns. The bull is not very active. He just sits around and eats his food and looks at you in the field or whatever, and doesn't charge most of the time unless you're really angry, and then he'll get angry. But otherwise, he's rather immobile, not so active as the previous sign. It's a very, very calm person. Because they're ruled by Venus, and they also appreciate beauty and things like that. Tend to be a little lazy or whatever, and a little slow. The third one is also quite different. This is Gemini, twins, ruled by Mercury. So these people are very restless. They're versatile. They like variety. They like to talk a lot. They're very verbal, communicative, like that. So entertaining. They can be comedians or whatever like that. Very, very quick minds. Negative quality, of course, is they can't concentrate on anything. They skip around. Their mind goes all over the place. Cancer is ruled by the moon. This is the animal is the crab that runs around back and forth like this, a little bit unsteadily. So the moon also is the most changeable planet. It's also the quickest planet, and it keeps changing its size every day, and it keeps moving around like this very quickly. It's the quickest planet in the zodiac. So the people who have Cancer ascendant that tend to be emotional, a little bit unstable, like that. Maybe can't make decisions properly, but they tend to be also creative and kind people, gentle people. Fifth one is Leo. This is the lion. So as we can expect, this is the person who tries to control everybody else. They're natural rulers in one sense. They like to control. Also, they are generous and noble, like that, like the lion. If there is some, let's say, negative qualities due to the weakness of Leo, then we get bad qualities like dictatorships and controlling others too much, becoming more aggressive or whatever like that, more bossy or whatever. So it has good and bad aspects. Sixth sign is Virgo, also ruled by Mercury. So the person very intelligent. Mercury is for intelligence. So it's also they're very good with analytical things, practical people. They're logical. They can do business very well. They also tend to be, say, caretakers. They can be caretakers. So it's also the nursing sign. Actually, the sign is a maiden with some grains in her hand. So it's agricultural also. Seventh is Libra, which is scales, ruled by Venus. So such persons, if you're born with this ascendant, tend to be very fond of peaceful situations, harmonious situations. They like balance rather than, disturbance or whatever. They like peace over whatever. They like to compromise rather than to fight. So they appreciate, wonderful, harmonious situations and artistic things like that. Scorpio, 8th sign, not so good, ruled by Mars. This is another passionate sign, but very secretive. Whereas the Aries was, the Ram was very, very public in his aggression. Scorpions are a little more secretive and they hide in little holes and they bite you when you're not looking. So they can be very critical people like that, But they can also, of course, they also have a sattvic. Some of them have sattvic natures also, whatever. They make good spies and like that. Good diplomats. Sagittarius is 9th sign, also good sign ruled by Jupiter, which is considered the best planet. So it's a philosophical planet, religious planet. They're also somewhat courageous, more warrior-like in nature, can make nice leaders. The bow is there. The Sagittarius has got a bow, so he has high ideals. So generally a positive sign. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is that, the slow planet. So these people are very serious. And Saturn, of course, tends to renunciation, detachment, etc. So they're by nature quite detached and whatever. Hardworking, practical people, honest, etc. Very serious persons. The next sign, Aquarius, the 11th sign, is also ruled by Saturn. So very similar in one sense, very serious people. Aquarius people tend to be a little more fixed and maybe slower, but we could say more into humanitarian type activities as well. The last sign is Pisces, the 2 fish. This is ruled by Jupiter. So because they're ruled by Jupiter, it's ruled by Jupiter, also philosophical, but it's also fish. Fish is associated with water, so they're a little bit more abstract, not so practical. And they're creative at the same time, maybe a little bit unpractical or whatever. Dreamers in one sense, like to dream a lot. So good for imaginative work, but not too good for practical applications of things. So that's the 12 signs. So that could be the ascendant, and then you could have those qualities. Or if the moon is in that sign, you could have those qualities. So generally, your ascendant is going to be one, your moon's going to not. So you're going to be a combination of two. So you don't just look in one place for your qualities or personality. You have to look in two places, where the moon is and where the ascendant is. Plus, then you have to look at if there's planets there also with those in the ascendant or with the moon. That's also going to color your personality. So those are the basic things. We have the karmas and we have your personality. So we generally, people go to the astrologer because they got some bad events in life and they don't like it so much, so they're getting some bad karmas. So ultimately, the astrologer has to detect what's causing it, or what is the indicator of that, which is a planet. And then they also have to give a suggestion on how to mitigate the bad effects of that planet. And so by doing so, we can alter our karmas. We can't erase them completely. We can modify them and give less effects. Or in case of your personality, if there's a bad planet there causing, like a Mars, causing too much problem, then again, are there suggestions on how to modify or lessen the influence of Mars so you're not so passionate and irrational and aggressive or whatever like that. Yeah. So in this way, there are ways we can mitigate things. One is, of course, you increase the ascendant strength or the ruler of that ascendant if it's weak, and you can use gems or colors or japa. You chant the mantra for the particular planet, and that will pacify it and increase more strength. So this is quite common in India to do that. You use the gems or the japa or whatever like that. Yeah. So each planet has a gem to go with it. So if you have a weak sun, then you wear a ruby. If you have a weak moon, you wear a pearl. If you have a weak Mars, you wear red coral. If you have a weak Mercury, you wear emerald. And if you have a weak Venus, you wear diamonds. And if a weak Jupiter, a yellow sapphire, and Saturn, a blue sapphire, and Rahu is a gomed, which is a type of garnet, and Ketu is cat's eye. So these are the different gems you could use like that. So you can strengthen that planet. Like this is sun, this is the moon, this is Mars, this is um, Mercury, this is diamond or Venus, this is yellow sapphire, kind of like a topaz, but it's actually a sapphire, a yellow sapphire for Jupiter, and blue sapphire for Saturn. There's a gomed and there's a cat's eye. Yeah. Or you can also have all 9 in one and get a combination effect, like this ring here is a combination of nine gems. It's called Navaratna 9-gem ring. It's quite common in India. Yeah. So apart from gems, there are other things, prayers for each of the planets, or the deity behind the planet, mantras, worship, etc. So these are ways to strengthen the planet or decrease the effect of a bad planet like that. Yeah. And we have deities for each of the different planets. Yeah? So for Sun, we have Ramchandra, Moon is Krishna, Mars is Narsimhadev, Mercury is Buddha, Venus is Parsuram, Jupiter is Vamanadev, Saturn is Kurma, Rahu is Varaha, and Ketu is Meena, fish avatar, like that. So we have different things like that. So we just have the different, okay, much time. Krishna, this is Nrsimhadev, lion. Very interesting because he is the ferocious one. So Mars is the ferocious planet, and Nrsimhadev was very ferocious in tearing apart the demons. So you worship Nrsimhadev, you pacify the Mars influence. Now, for instance, Mars, seventh house is marriage. Yeah. And if you have Mars in the seventh, it's not a good indicator. It means you're going to have a lot of fights in your marriage. So then what to do if you got the Mars there and you're fighting? So you worship Nrsimhadev, or you wear the coral, whatever, you pacify the Mars. Mercury, the Buddha, Venus is Parsuram, Jupiter is Vamanadev, Rahu is Varaha, and Ketu is Meena, like that, and Saturn is Kurma, like that. Yeah. So various things, you can use mantras, you can do sacrifices, homas, fire sacrifices, chanting the mantras, etc., whatever. Okay. You can do worship, but you have to purify yourself and wash your hands, etc. Then you can offer incense, flowers, etc., like this. So you see this in the temples. They offer incense and lamps and flowers like that. So these are things which will lessen your karmas, bad karmas. So you get less suffering in life and you can be peaceful. It does not destroy your karmas. So you still have to go through body after body after body. So in the Vedic scriptures, then they say, well, okay, you can modify your karma. So this is also not a good solution. You're still got a body and you're still getting another body, another body. And again, you have to go to the same thing of trying to get rid of your bad karmas, etc. So why not destroy all the karmas? I said it's difficult, but it can be done. So this is the aim of Jnana Yoga and Astanga Yoga, destroy all the karmas. It's also the aim of Buddhism. You destroy all your karmas, get out of the cycle of rebirth. So Jnana Yoga concentrates on, let's say, philosophical study, etc., a discussion of Vedanta, etc., largely intellectual and with a sense of renunciation. And by that, you can start destroying all your karmas and get out of the material world, and you get liberation. Same with Astanga Yoga. Method is a little different. Instead of being intellectual, you do a physical thing of asanas and pranayama and then meditate. And through that, you get to samadhi, at which point you can detach the atma from the material body and you get liberation again. So you destroy all your karmas again. So these are two methods of destroying all your karmas. Third method is easier. This is bhakti yoga, which is recommended by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. It also destroys all your karmas, but it gives you some added benefit beyond liberation. And this is considered to be the easiest method. We see here the yogis up there in the Himalayas. It's very difficult to do that. We still see, I don't know, anyone go to Kumbh Mela? So you see all these yogis come down from the Himalayas, and some of them being practicing austerities and standing on one leg or putting fires around them in the summer and bathing in the icy water in the winter and do all these very great austerities. It's difficult for most people to do that. A few people can do it, but not that many. So bhakti yoga is an easier process and it's quicker and it's more effective. So that is why Krishna recommends the process of bhakti yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. So why is it quicker? And why is it better? One, of course, is we don't have to stop the senses and stop the mind as we have to do in yoga and jnana, but rather we engage the senses. And it's better because we get not only destruction of all the karmas and get liberation, we get prema, which is love of God. So we get a feeling of bliss in a relationship with the Supreme Lord. So that's better than just destroy your karmas, which is like a neutral zone. So you destroy your karmas, plus you establish a relationship with the Supreme Lord in bliss. So that's called prema. So karma yoga is there with the astrology to adjust your karmas and give you balance of good karmas over bad karmas by punyas and prayers and whatever. It doesn't destroy your karmas. If we do jnana and astanga yoga, we can destroy all your karmas. But problem is, it takes a long time and very difficult for most people. You do bhakti yoga, most people can do that. It's quicker, easier. We destroy our karmas, plus we get prema. So that's why Krishna recommends that process at the end of Bhagavad Gita. I think we're kind of finished. Let's end here. Any question there? No.
I got a couple. First of all, thank you.
Yeah.
First one is you said all the gems that like amplify the thing. So do they amplify them or do they pacify them or both?
It depends. Usually they'll amplify the effects. So particularly for weak planets, we're in good position, then you can amplify it and get better results. If it's a bad planet in the good position, we don't want to increase it, So we avoid that gem for that particular Mars. We're not going to wear Mars if you got Mars in the ascendant because it's too prominent already.
Yeah.
So we can weaken the effect by offering the prayers and japa and things like that instead.
And then the second one is, that you said that it's mainly the ascendant and the moon that dictates the personality. So it's
Yeah.
I know what's called like the sun sign, like the main sign, that people like reference. Does that not like count as much, or
Well, what is that you're talking about?
like so for example, I'm born in July, and so the main
Sun sign. That's your
yeah,
sun
the
sign.
Cancer,
Oh,
something
okay.
like that.
It's lesser. According, of course, in the Western, it's the most prominent to determine your personality
Yeah.
based on your month. Which is a little bit awkward because everybody born in the same month would have the same personality, which isn't true. Whereas the moon, for instance, the moon is moving every day, and every 2 days it's changing signs, so it's a little more particular. You could combine it, and you could say, okay, the sun is going to be some basic things, which for all people in that month, the moon is going to give you more particular things, and then the sun is even more, the ascendant even more particular because it's changing every few hours.
Okay.
Now, the moon is changing every few days. The sun is only changing every month. So you can see that there's more particular for the moon and the ascendant than for the sun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you don't know your birth time, is it safe to not wear anything?
Yeah, if you don't know your birth time, yeah, it's very difficult because we need the ascendant to see where the planets are in relation to the first house and all that. Yeah, best thing. Of course, if we do bhakti yoga, we don't have to worry about gems or anything because it destroys all your karmas. Yeah.
How do you decipher the weak planets?
Oh, yeah. So planets become weak in certain zodiac signs and they become strong in other ones. So for instance, Mars is strong in the first sign Aries because it's its own house, or in Scorpio, it's quite strong. Yeah. It is weak in a Cancer sign. That's with the moon sign. It becomes very weak, and it becomes very strong in the opposite sign, which is Capricorn. Yeah. So, but each planet has a different sign where it's strong, one where it's weak, one where it's medium, etc. Yeah. So those are fixed things. Plus, then if a planet is in the sixth house, eighth house, or 12th house, it becomes weak. So a good planet is there. If it's in like Jupiter in the sixth house, not so good, it becomes weak because of that.
About, I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are on karma in relation to partnerships. Like if we get into partnerships, do we inherit any karma from their end? Or is that
So of course, in Vedic astrology, they do have compatibility of two people, not because one gets the other's karmas, but simply like it's based on the moon, basically, and the moon shows your personality, and the other person's moon hasn't got a different personality, so then they look at them and see, are these compatible or not? So you get a percentage like, 80% or 60% or 50% or 20% or 2% or whatever, depending on where your moons are. And then you can look at the other planets as well. So that's like called compatibility. So it doesn't mean you're sharing your karmas or anything like that. However, we do know that people associate with other people, and there tends to be, if you take a responsibility for another person, you tend to get some of the results because you're responsible for them. Just as said, the king is responsible for the citizens. The citizens should act nicely and not break the laws. If the king doesn't control that and they break all the laws and do all sorts of violent activity, some of the result goes to the king. He gets bad karma also. It's not that they don't suffer at all, but he shares part of their karma. So that's the way in which karmas are shared if there's a responsibility between two people. And generally in Vedic, the wife is dependent on the husband. So if the wife does the bad activity, the husband gets the results. Shares the result at least.
How to practice black yoga?
How do we practice it? Oh yeah, well that's another whole nother presentation. But so bhakti yoga, I said, means we engage the senses rather than stopping the senses as they do in yoga. So we can engage the voice in doing kirtan. We engage the ear in hearing scriptures. We engage the eye in seeing the deity forms and like that. The form of deity is there. We engage the tongue in eating prasadam. So we have ways in which we can spiritualize our activities, which normally are going to create karma. Instead of creating karma, they destroy karma. So that's what bhakti yoga does. Engages the senses so that we destroy karma and we create more bhakti.
And is that something we can do just, in our day-to-day as we walk on the street or something?
Yeah.
Or is it something we?
Okay, well, the easiest process is Nam Sankirtan, chanting the name of Krishna. So that's why we chant Hare Krishna all the time. So that is the easiest process. Chant the name of the Lord, it will destroy all your karmas. Of course, we see that in all religions. They're all chanting the name of God, whether it's Islam or Christianity, they all chant. But actually, in according to Lord Chaitanya, then this is the main process by which we can destroy karmas and create more bhakti and ultimately get to prema. It's the easiest process. Can you do it any place, anytime? It doesn't matter.
If I ask a question please about chanting japa.
Yeah.
Some people just do it in the process of very fast and
Yeah.
not really think about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Would that sort of negate some of the power
Okay,
of doing that?
Yeah.
Is it better to do it
Yeah.
slowly and
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about what you're
yeah.
doing?
So chanting the name in japa or in kirtan, in any case, or even accidentally, has effect. But of course, if we can do it with devotion and attention, it has more effect. So that's a basic principle. So we can always chant, but if we're doing it more attentively, we're going to get better effects from it.
Thank you.
And what about mantras under each planet? I'm particularly interested about Mars. Do you remember it? If you could pronounce
The Mars one?
Yeah. And how do you practice it? Each one, yeah.
Yeah. Om Shrom Narasimhaya Namaha.
Can you say it slower?
Om Shrom Narasimhaya Namaha.
Yeah, so what is it about? Like about
So what it means is I offer respects to Narasimha. This is this deity, the name of the deity, which means literally man lion, because he's got a human-like body and a lion-like head. And so, as I said, he represents ferocity, because he's the one that ferociously kills the big demon and rips him apart.
some of people practice it, like some as well doing this mantra as a japa, for example, and just repeating, or what is this mantra?
Yeah, so if you have if you want to increase your strength of Mars or you want to decrease in a bad place, then you can chant this mantra.
Right.
And if you want, you can also worship the form, the deity, offering flowers, incense, whatever like that. But basically, you do that, and the more you do it, then the better effect you get.
How come one person is more beautiful than another person?
Oh, that's again by your ascendants, these different zodiac signs rising. And they may have some planet there which will cause defects or ugliness or whatever, others beauty. For instance, if you get the moon in the ascendant, it creates beauty, more beauty, nice complexion, etc. If you have Saturn there, it tends to be very, rough appearance, whatever. Or very dark complexion like that. So if you have Mars there, you're going to be a very reddish appearance. So you get different complexions and stuff like that. And if you have like Rahu there, that's going to create problems also, very rough appearance and whatever like that. So if you have Venus there, you can have very delicate features, very beautiful features.
If your moon rising is the same,
Moon and Mars.
no, if your rising sign and your moon sign.
Yeah.
The same.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Does that make any difference?
Yeah, moon in the ascendant. Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. So you have moon in the ascendant. Moon, of course, is a sign of your mind, for one thing. And that's also, of course, Capricorn. Cancer has its own characteristics: creative, movable, restless, whatever, maybe indecisive, emotional. So that could impact your personality, whatever sign you're in. Like if you're Aries, the first sign, which is the Mars, but then you have the moon there, you're going to be a combination of aggression plus this more gentle person with emotions and things like that. So maybe over emotional Aries. Huh? And as Gemini is Mercury. The two twins, so that's ruled by Mercury, which is the intellect sign, the brain sign. So you get the two together. It can be good, but it may have some negative things also because your mind gets overactive. You tend to overactive mind, and your emotions affect your intelligence and things like that. It makes you very sensitive also. The Geminis are sensitive. You get the moon there, which is a sensitive sign, and the two together make you more sensitive.
While we're in the physical body, obviously, we come to what the brain dictates to us a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So if I was to say, okay, if I was to be nice to people,
Yeah.
then it's going to help me karmically. But what happens if I'm doing that but not actually feeling it?
Okay, yeah.
So if I'm just creating an illusion or something.
Yeah. Okay, something better than nothing. But if you can have the feeling with the action, it's better, obviously. Yeah, just like you could, we have all these, you had your bad karmas, and then you go to the astrologer and he tells you do this, this, and this. So you just do it. You don't have any feeling. You get some little effect. But if you actually do it with feeling, then you tend to you destroy the cause of your karmas, which means that you become more compassionate to people. You're not so cruel, and you're like that. So if you have some emotion behind it, which is positive, then it's better.
So you were saying ignorance is the worst form, and then passion is like lesser than that.
Yeah.
So let's take an example where you're like at work or something in some, I don't know, construction site, and your negligence causes somebody's death versus somebody piss you off and you take a hammer, right?
Yeah.
So how is the negligence? Because that's like more through ignorance in my interpretation.
Oh,
of it.
okay. Yeah.
How is that one worse?
Oh, okay. Well, I think that when we talk about ignorance, it's not because inadvertence. It would mean that out of ignorance, you're even more violent. Passionate is probably related to your ambitions or something, and you commit violence because somebody is obstructing your ambitions. In the mode of ignorance, you'll be violent for no particular reason. Just suddenly somebody agitates you, so you get violent. But for mode of passion, you're more intelligent, and then you're aimed towards your goal, and all your violence would probably be against people who are obstructing your goal.
Yeah. So in that, what I just said, the coming at someone would actually be the ignorant one.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
You talk about how actions have played a role in karma. Is there much effect from just like our thinking process, or if we're meditating on something in particular, can that have much of an effect?
Oh, thinking versus action. Well, we say both are there, and if you do both together, it's even better. And so let's say you do compassionate act, but you have no feeling behind it. It's also not good. You can get very little effect. If you have the actual compassion behind the compassionate act, then you get much better effect.
Can also affect if you have some knowledge about something.
Yeah.
That could change what your intent is.
Yeah.
You do something out of ignorance versus if you're doing something.
Yeah. If you have your intentions are more focused, then you get better results, which means you have better knowledge, then you get better results.
These remedies for sufferings, like the stones or the first, do they nullify everything or just reduce it?
They reduce it. They don't nullify it. The only nullification is to Jnana Yoga, Astanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. They will destroy your karmas. So these don't give you liberation. They don't stop the wheel of karma. They improve your wheel of karma. So you're operating at a higher level. That's all. But you're still taking birth and death. If you do Jnana Yoga or Astanga Yoga, you stop the cycle of birth and death. You get liberation. You do Bhakti Yoga, you get liberation, plus you get prema.
So are we all just expressions of Krishna? Because in relation to the cycle, continual cycle.
Yeah.
If you follow the Buddhist tradition, it's just a continual cycle of no beginning, no end.
Yeah.
But with Bhakti Yoga, is there an ultimate goal?
With the Bhakti Yoga? Yeah. So by Bhakti Yoga, we get out of the cycle of karma. So no more birth and death, no more material bodies, no more, birth, death, old age, disease, etc. But that's not the real goal. The goal is to establish eternal relationship with Krishna, in which you get prema, and then you get bliss through love, basically. So it's a loving relationship. If we get liberation, there's no love because there is nobody else there. We just liberate from the material world, finish. But we establish relationship with Supreme Lord, then we get loving relationship. which is maybe the ultimate goal of us. And we're in the material world, we're also trying to get loving relationships, but it doesn't work out. And even if it's perfect, it's not perfect because we die. And then we get another body, we start all over again. So it's a frustrating experience. So if you take eternal relationship with Krishna, then that's perfect. And it's your loving relationship, which goes on forever with beyond birth and death.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we can end here then. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Vraj Prabhu, please end the meeting for all. Thank you, Prabhuji.